Well, here's another troubling number. Around 80% of kids in Kansas City are lagging in reading skills, and summertime doesn't help. Young students in poor and underserved areas often come back to school further behind in reading than when they left for summer vacation. Combating this summer slide, or slump as it's come to be called, is a major component of Mayor Sly James' Turn the Page initiative, aimed at helping kids read at grade level by third grade. KCPT's education reporter Lindsay Fote visited a variety of summer literacy programs with the mayor and has this report.
It's like when I read the back, it makes me know what the story is going to be more about.
Veronica Farmer loves to read.
I read a lot of stuff. Walking down the street, I read signs, I read everything. My mama tell me to stop reading because I read everything. I even read her mail, her text messages, her email, all that.
Veronica is spending her summer vacation reading books in a church basement as part of Upper Room's summer camp. She'll be in 6th grade this fall. She began the summer reading at a 3rd grade level. According to Mayor Sly James' Turn the Page initiative, only 19% of kids in the Kansas City, Missouri school district are proficient in reading by 3rd grade. And citywide, only 34% of students are on target with their reading.
Okay, let's look at the first part. What's that word? I think that the whole agrarian system of education is outmoded and doesn't need to be in place anymore. Children are better off in a constant learning environment. There is nothing that I can see that is helpful about taking the summer off for kids and their learning. And when we have children in this city, in certain schools or school districts that are behind already, they're not going to catch up that way. You want a kid to catch up when they're behind, then they have to put in more time, not less.
It's common for kids to lose some of what they've learned in school during the summer. But the Turn the Page initiative is partnering with 13 summer learning programs to turn summer slump into a time for gains in literacy. Gregory Smith is the site director for the Upper Rooms reading program at Jameson Memorial Temple. The site serves 145 students, grades 1 through 8, who spend their days reading books and then taking quizzes about what they've read.
Our program runs for a total of 8 weeks, and the kids come in at their reading level. We test the kids and get an assessment of where they're at, and then our goal is for 6 months growth throughout the 8-week program.
Keep your hands up if you read your books at home. You all do? How many books a week do you read? Who reads the most books per week? How many do you
So far, Smith says they're seeing exponential growth.
Wow, that's a lot of books. That means
Another program that reports gains among students is the Kansas City Freedom Schools Initiative. Reverend Darren Faulkner is the executive director and CEO of the initiative, which has 5 sites across the metro serving over 500 kids.
Research suggests that children, particularly in low-income areas or impoverished areas of cities and metropolitan cities across the country, experience a summer lag or a summer learning loss. That makes what we do that more important because we prevent the summer lag. And in fact, we show gains. For a 3rd grader that is reading at pre-primer or the pre-K level of reading, by the time they get to 6th grade, if they continue at the progress that they were on, they'll still be reading at a 3rd grade level. But if they're with us for those 3 years, we can bring them up to grade level by 6th grade.
Programs like these and many more run by schools, libraries, and nonprofits hope to improve literacy rates for students. But it's still not clear what's most effective. That's where Leanne Taylor Knight comes in. She is the executive director of the Kansas City Area Education Research Consortium. Turn the Page KC has commissioned Knight to figure out what works best when it comes to summer learning.
There are a multitude of challenges within the complexity of looking at this in our city's context. One of those begins with having students in different school districts. We don't have a universal reading assessment that's used with every child who is in Kansas City, Missouri. The out-of-school time programs have adopted different reading programs, different reading assessments, so we don't have a universal reading assessment that's used by everyone.
Although wrangling the data of the various reading assessments will be no small feat, Knight says it will lay the foundation for tracking literacy rates citywide. And it will provide a clear picture of the impact of summer learning programs in KC. So far, the results are positive.
We've had some early partnerships piloting with some school district data and some of the out-of-school time programs that are beginning to trend in the right direction. of indicating that students who are participating or have participated in these out-of-school time programs are making gains in their reading.
For students like Duronica, those gains can be dramatic. According to the Upper Room's measurement, she's made an entire school year's worth of progress in just 6 weeks. Reporting on education for KCPT,